Okay, Smackdown. Let's make this quick. I'm tired, I'm sweaty. It is very muggy in New York and it's been raining and it feels like the temperature was barely 90 something and it felt like over 100 in New York because it's so humid. So you can understand why I'm a little tired and a little shiny. But let's make this quick. Was this a good show? It was okay. We only had like 2 segments I really liked. And then 2 other segments that kind of scratches your head. Well, one segment that kind of scratches your head heavily. The other one is like, are they really trying to drag this out even more because there's literally nothing for them to do? That's what it comes down to. Alright. Melo versus Andrade. Andrade beat Melo the first time. They have a really good match. And Andrade beats him again. What does this mean? I don't know. This type of booking is like, alright, we're not going to do a best of 7 type of series or a best of 5 type of series, are we? Because if we're going to do type of a best of, wouldn't it be better that these two really hated one another? And Melo basically just does not like Andrade. Andrade doesn't like Melo. Melo does get beat. The first one was a clean match. The second one was a disputed match. And then they do a best of. Because that would be the best way to do it. But we get 2 clean matches from Carmelo and Andrade. So what is next? Are we going to do a Falls Count Anywhere match? Are we going to do a best of 2 out of 3 falls? Because literally, what does Carmelo Hayes gain here? Now, many people would say, dude, he's working with Andrade Cien. He's going to get over. Really? Andrade's not really doing that great. He's not even working with Delgado del Fantasma right now. Wasn't there supposed to be a feud between Santos Escobar and Andrade? And now they're doing it with Melo. I don't know what's going on here. I'm not saying it could be bad, but Melo just got beat twice. Andrade's not dealing with Santos Escobar. And when you look at Santos Escobar versus Apollo Crews, and after that gauntlet where Apollo Crews landed on the back of his head to the point where his own knee smacked him on the face, I'm shocked that man's even walking. He's a tough-ass bastard. But then Santos wins here. And we don't see Andrade come out. I don't know what's going on. The best team that was in that gauntlet match was literally Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews. It was not the bloodline, but the bloodline storyline has to go on. So I don't know what's going on here. Third match. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill versus the tag champs. Now, there are 2 things I'm thinking here. Two. One, when this started, I thought of 1 or 2 things. Either there's going to be some outside interference. I had this feeling. Something was going to happen that they were going to lose. And that had to be. Because I just don't see Bianca and Jade winning. There had to be some type of interference from the outside, or literally Bianca or Jade messes up the match and they begin their feud going against one another, which doesn't make any sense at all because Jade Cargill is not ready. If you look at the match for what it was, you had Bianca who looked good. You had Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn who look way more polished than Jade. And look, I still like Jade Cargill. I do. I think she has a great look. She's now improved her talking. She doesn't have those funny, awkward pauses anymore. And her ring work looks a bit better. But let's be honest. She still is green compared to the others because as you saw the match as it went, Jade is very strong. There is no way to deny her strength. But we're not talking about strength in the ring. We're talking about how this can be, my nose is itchy. This is about how well she can perform without using strength. Actually using actual ring skill. Actually being able to wrestle. And she's sloppy. That's the truth. She is sloppy. She's using her strength to compensate for her sloppiness. And honestly, it shows. Does not mean she's a bad wrestler. She's not. But she is still green and sloppy. But it does not mean she can't wrestle. But you got 3 women who can wrestle and one who's still learning how to become more better at wrestling in the style of WWE. TKO WWE. Let's make it clear. There is no more WWE. It's TKO WWE. That's the deal. So, this is what we got. Davenport comes out. Blair basically slams Jade into the steps. The match is done. And now they're doing this. And the one thing that made me think was that having Davenport come out here, instead of having the match on SummerSlam, shows they really don't think much of the tag champions. I'm sorry. If you love them, I understand. I do like Davenport, but I like Isla Dawn. I like Alba Fire. Both of them, I like them. They're not bad wrestlers. They both had some decent character work before they became tag champs. But they're not really making them important. They should be on SummerSlam. They should have the match on SummerSlam. And they did not get the match on SummerSlam because they're doing it here. What does that tell you about the women's tag division? Let's move on. The only things I liked, and let me say this, Bloodline versus DIY, you knew they were going to win, because if they're doing it here, there's no way the Bloodline was going to lose. I knew they weren't going to lose. They won here, and that's got to be something that's going on when it comes to the final match in the Bloodline Rules match. And that's what we get in the very beginning. Cody talks to a Solo Sikoa, and it wasn't that bad from Solo. We get the same way Cody talks. The same pauses, the same breath, which is not bad. That's not, wrestlers all do it. But when we see Solo talk, he's more down to earth. He did seem to almost try to be a little bit like The Rock, basically saying shut up, the way he set up that moment. I'm not going to explain what it is. You need to watch it for yourself. But I'm going to tell you this. Seeing Solo Sikoa and how he was when he first started in the Bloodline compared to now that he's been developing, I really do believe he can make something out of himself as a talker, not just as a wrestler. He still needs work, but I can actually buy Solo Sikoa as a talker now. It's not perfect. He still seems to need more work, but I feel him. That's something you how can I explain this if anyone doesn't understand what I mean? I'm sure wrestling fans do, but new people watching, if you don't watch wrestling, you're wondering, what do I mean? Like, I feel him. Let me give it to you like this. If you hear a speech from someone, it doesn't matter if it was a Hillary Clinton, if it was Donald Trump, if it was Barack Obama, if it was George W. Bush, George Walker Bush, Ronald Reagan, or maybe a basketball player, a football player getting a trophy or an award, something that was so heartfelt, you could feel it. In wrestling, that's the most important thing. You need to be able to relay what you're doing to the fans at home and in the arena. If you can't do that, you have a major problem on your hands, because the only thing else you have is your ring work. And many wrestlers who believe that ring work is all you need is a lie. True pro wrestling is a combination of many things, and one of them is being able to have charisma and talking, and your charisma goes along with your talking. You got to get over when it comes to really relaying your feelings, your thoughts, your words, but also your attitude. I can go, what the hell you want? What the hell you want? You can have an attitude, a personality, a persona, but the most important thing when you do your mic work, you have to be able to relay both of them at the same time to the people in the arena and someone like me at home. You got to be able to get them to believe that you're a bad guy, to believe that you're a scumbag like MJF, to believe that you're a good guy like Cody Rhodes, to believe that you are the tribal chief like a Roman Reigns or Solo Sikoa. You need to be able to relay that. And when I look at Solo, he is improved enough that I could actually feel him as a reputable main eventer. Do I believe he feels like the tribal chief? No. He needs more work at it. But do I believe he could be a main eventer? Yes, because of the way he's been improving his talking. What did we get when it came to Logan Paul and his celebration in Cleveland, Ohio, even though he came from the damn suburbs? We get a picture, we get some officials showing up in the ring. We get a banner fall down with him holding his U.S. championship that has "yeah" across it because LA Knight screwed him over. And due to the fact that LA knew that Mr. Numbnuts, in other words, Logan Paul, needed to have something to be seen. He needed a banner. He went to the back to see if he can find one. He went to Pretty... I messed up Pretty Deadly right there and then. I botched it because they're trying to sell Pretty Deadly, the musical. Combining a little bit of Cats and something else going, what? What? Really? But I will tell you this. Seeing the truck that Logan Paul brought out, primed, if you don't believe that WWE doesn't exist, you think that WWE still exists anymore, look at what we got with Logan Paul driving, rolling up in a truck with his logo all over it. No one, and I repeat this again, in the history of this company before it was purchased, generally they never put advertisement, barely at all, of a wrestler on any major item they're using. They would use regular stock, standard stuff. They would normally, very rarely, if ever, Logan's the first person that literally brings out a truck with prime pictures all over it. This shows you this is not WWE anymore. This is TKO WWE. They care more about merchandise sales. Look, they're going to do a sale where I think 50% off on everything right after SummerSlam. They care so much about selling their merch now. They care more about that than they care in most cases about the content they're producing. So what do we get? Logan Paul's truck gets hijacked by, truck jacked by a LA Knight. I will not tell you that this wasn't mostly entertaining, because the LA Knight was entertaining. When it came to Cody talking with Solo, I will state that I felt something from Solo, that he could feel like a legit main eventer in time. He did a good job. But when you see the rest of the show, yes, Apollo Crews and Santos Escobar wasn't a bad match, and neither was Andrade and Melo. But there wasn't much here. And they didn't bother to give the tag champions, Aladon Alba Fire, a spot in not WrestleMania, but SummerSlam. We got WrestleMania and SummerSlam mixed together. You know why? Because they should have had their match on SummerSlam. No. Normally, they always put the champions there. Like when it comes to the tag champs. They normally wouldn't do that. Not unless, in this situation, the bloodline is going to be in the bloodline rules match. But why would they do that then, unless the storyline for the bloodline is going to take a turn at the end of the show, and they did not want to have a chance of something going on in the tag match for DIY and the bloodline to go wrong. They'd rather do it here. It was okay, but honestly, it wasn't a lot. But that's just me. Peace. I should be doing SummerSlam tomorrow.